There we go. Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for a presentation by the co-founders of hearOclub. Before we get started, I just want to take a moment to thank Whitney Riley for providing captions tonight. Thank you so much, Whitney. And I just want to let you know, if you're in the webinar and have questions for RJ, Ben, or Bob, then just use that Q&A at the bottom of your screen. Type in your question, and when they're finished with their presentation, I'll go ahead and voice those questions to them. And if you have any kind of technical problems, you can't hear them or something like that, you can always use the chat box as well. So welcome, Bob, RJ, and Ben to Intro to hearOclub, Avoiding Hearing Emergencies. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you guys work like dogs. This is a new company, fairly new, and I really appreciate you taking the time to let us know how people can avoid hearing emergencies and just how your company got started and why it's important that people take advantage of this service. So Bob, I'm going to go ahead and let you get started.
Well, thank you. I'm Bob. I'm one of the co-founders, and I'm really excited to be here tonight. I'm excited to be in Rochester in another month, and I'm going to let my my partners introduce themselves, and then I'm going to start the first portion of things.
Hi guys, I'm RJ. I'm one of the founders of hearOclub as well, like Bob said. I'm located out in Colorado. And I just wanted to say thank you everyone for tuning in, and we're really excited to the opportunity to be able to tell you guys about hearOclub.
And hey, I'm Ben Norman. I'm the third hearOclub co-founder, so we're the trifecta here. I'm based out of Chicago, Illinois, and you know, just echoing what Bob and RJ already said, we're just truly excited to share our story with us. We think HLAA is a great organization, and we're just very happy to be working together. So I'll turn it over to Bob now.
Thanks. So I just want you all to know that obviously we're a hearing aid and hearing aid battery and cochlear implant battery subscription service, but we really are a lot more than that. We really strive to impress all of our customers with everything that we do. We are all about quality. We're all about convenience, and most importantly, trying to keep things simple and avoid hearing emergencies. So if you can go to the next slide, RJ. Great, thanks. You can go to the next one. Next slide. Thanks. So we wanted to talk a little bit about where the idea of hearOclub came from. And I'm going to actually skip ahead a little bit on this and talk about 20 to 25 years ago, I was actually working in the hearing aid battery business with the Railvac Corporation. And at that time, the Railvac Corporation had Arnold Palmer as their spokesman. And I'm an avid golfer, and so I thought it would be neat to try to see if I could meet Arnold. So I came up with this idea, and this was before the internet, to actually do a direct-to-consumer model on hearing aid batteries, because obviously they expire on a regular basis, and shipping directly to consumer at that time was thinking way outside the box. The senior management at Railvac thought the idea was great and told me that they thought it would be something that they could do. Well, about a week later, they called me and said that they had checked with all their retail partners, and that their retail partners would, quote unquote, throw them out if they decided to sell directly to consumers. Well, you know, fast forward 25 years, and we have the internet, we have obviously a lot of e-commerce, and my mother went into a senior care facility a couple years ago, and I noticed that there really wasn't any organized method to manage hearing aid batteries at the facility. And so we started to, we actually asked to have a focus group and to see, how people actually got hearing aid batteries in an elder community. And what we found was, unfortunately, people with hearing aids would sit for days, even weeks at a time, waiting for a loved one or somebody to actually go buy them some batteries. And it really kind of got me thinking that maybe it was time to take my old proposition to Rayovac and dust it off, obviously. And I got RJ and Ben involved, and hearOclub was formed. And so what I was experiencing in this senior facility was hearing emergencies, and some of them were an hour long, and some of them were, like I said, weeks long. And so we are very happy that we can provide a consistent supply of batteries that can help people avoid hearing emergencies. So RJ, if you can go to the next slide, please. So our batteries are branded DieHard, and there's a method to our madness on this. The DieHard brand is a 50-year-old brand. It's one of the most highly thought of from a quality and trust perspective. And one of the things that we know for sure is that the DieHard name doesn't get put on any products that don't go through a rigorous testing. And the proof is kind of in the pudding, because we've gotten incredible feedback from our members and incredible feedback from everybody in the market that's used our product. And so the validation makes us feel real good. And from our perspective, we want to make sure that our customers are impressed. So if you can go to the next slide, please, RJ. So these are just some testimonials. We at the risk of bragging, our customers love DieHard, but we also love our customers. And this isn't just about providing batteries. We absolutely are trying to be a resource at every level to all the members that join hearOclub. And it excites us to be a resource and to help solve problems for people and make sure that they have a consistent supply of hearing aid batteries so that they don't experience hearing emergencies. Hearing emergency, the term, we kind of coined it as we were developing our business, because I think people that don't have hearing aids sometimes think that not having hearing aid batteries is just an inconvenience, but it really is an emergency. And I think we'll get into that a little bit more here as we get into a little bit, RJ and Ben can talk about it a little bit more. But we're very proud of what we're doing, and we're very excited again to be involved with the HLAA, and can't wait to get to the convention and hopefully see everybody that's listening tonight. So with that, I think I'm going to go to the next slide, and I think hand it off to RJ.
Hi, everyone. So one of the things Bob was talking about was when the idea, originally he had it, since then the subscription model has really gotten very popular. I think like Dollar Shave Club was one of the first companies to really implement that, where you could sign up for something and have it arrive in the mail every month. Blue Apron does a similar thing with food and meals. BarkBox does it with dog treats. Dr. Squatch does it with soap. There's so many things out there that people know they need a consistent supply of, and they know how fast they go through them, and they know what type they need. And so it just really makes a lot of sense to sign up and have it just arrive at your doorstep every month. So we took that subscription model and thought, why not apply that to hearing aid batteries? People are consistently having to run out to the store. consistently, there's times where you forget and you have to go out. So you can rely on us to supply you with them and never have to worry about running out again. And then Bob talked about some of the focus groups that we did at elder communities, as well as some of the directors of senior living facilities that we talked to. And like he said, there are people that would go from, ranges of not being able to hear for an hour to a woman that went 2 weeks without being able to hear. And so the more and more we thought, we talked about that, we realized they're not actually treating their hearing loss correctly. And that, we need to help them and make sure that they are treating it. If they have a hearing aid, they should have access to hearing aid batteries. So there's been, a lot of studies that have come out, and I'm sure everyone is familiar with a lot of these studies, but, we started realizing with these hearing emergencies, there's a major health impact. So the first one here I'm going to read is from the New York Times. It said, 2 huge new studies have demonstrated a clear association between untreated hearing loss and an increased risk of dementia, depression, falls, and even cardiovascular disease. In a significant number of people, the studies indicate, uncorrected hearing loss itself appears to be the cause of the associated health problem. So even cardiovascular disease, not being able to hear can have an increase in cardiovascular disease. So we figured that we need to help make sure that these people don't have these gaps in hearing. That same New York Times article talked about an analysis of the voluminous data by Nicholas S. Reed and colleagues linked untreated hearing loss to more and longer hospitalizations, readmissions, and more visits to an emergency room. The Daily Herald Chicago talked about, according to a study that surveyed adults with Medicare supplement plans, hearing loss has a greater impact on the quality of life than diabetes, heart disease, coronary artery disease, or hypertension. Johns Hopkins talked about hearing loss linked to nearly 3 times more likely to have a history of falling. That same New York Times article talked about more than half of people in their 70s and more than 80% in their 80s have mild to moderate hearing loss or worse, according to tests done by the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. So 80% of people in their 80s have mild to moderate hearing loss. Really got us thinking that, through these focus groups that we had done, the directors that we had talked to at elder care communities, this must be a very widespread problem. And so we took it upon ourselves to solve this. We're going to be preventing falls, cardiovascular disease, depression by implementing our system. So it was something that we felt really passionate about, and we're excited to be able to actually help people with this. So there's also a doctor that we've talked to, and I'm not going to get too far into the details on this, but he kind of echoed everything that we had read. He said that, a lot of times, and this was something we had found as well, people in these elder care communities, when their hearing aid battery runs out, they become very isolated. And the social isolation can have is poor on your health as well. If people are unable to socialize, it actually hurts their cognitive function and really can end up in depression as well. So that was something that we, talking to a doctor and reading all of these different reports, we felt that we were very validated in, how much we want to help people. He also talked about, people setting alarms to take their pills, or there being a number of different systems out there to give people their medicine. So we thought, we're like that system for people with hearing aid batteries. We're going to send a shipment so people never run out and they never run into these hearing emergencies. So all the while we were helping people in the senior living communities, our members started emailing us and sharing stories about their hearing emergencies. And we realized that these hearing emergencies weren't just happening in elder care communities, but they were happening in everyone's everyday life. If you've seen the most recent Hearing Life magazine, there's an article actually about a HearOclub member, Ashley, who's on the left. And when she was a student, she was at a big review for a final exam. And during the middle of her review, her hearing aid battery died, and she actually had to run out of class and run across campus to find a drugstore. And by the time she got back, the review was over. So luckily, she was able to get notes from her friends, but that's a stress that we thought nobody should have to deal with. We also have members in many rural parts of the country. One of our members said that they used to drive 50 miles to the closest store to get their hearing aid batteries. So she talked about what would happen, if she would realize her supply was low and she would run out, it would be an hour in the car that she would be driving in silence. And that was only if she could go right then and there. Sometimes she'd have to wait days until she could get it. So she really likes to check, cross that off her list and rely on us to provide her with batteries and not have to drive that far again. We also have members that have talked about, snowstorms that have come in. Someone had one battery left and was going to drive to the store that next morning. And all of a sudden they wake up in the morning, they look out the window, and there's a massive blizzard that happened. They can't dig their car out. They have to wait for a plow, and they have no way to get their batteries. And, if they had signed up with us, there would have been a supply that would have lasted them until, the next supply came in the mail. We also have a member that lives on an island, and he has to take a ferry to get to the closest drugstore to get batteries. So you could imagine the journey that he would have to go on when he wouldn't realize that his supply had depleted and would have to run to the store. So we really feel like, our system, the hearOclub, saves the day. We're ending these hearing emergencies. No longer is someone going to have to drive an hour to the store. No longer is a student not going to realize that their supply has run out in the middle of a review. We make it simple. We deliver the batteries on a consistent basis, and you can never worry about running out again. So on the left here is one of our member packets. You can see that's the batteries that come in. In the middle here is a battery testing keychain that has a storage drawer. Ben is going to get into that in a little more detail in a bit. And on the right here is just a testimonial from one of our members. It says, "My mom seems much happier every time we visit since joining hearOclub. She now hears consistently, which has brightened her mood." So it's, it is about hearing aid batteries, but it's also, kind of a weight was lifted off of her shoulders. Her mom would be worried, what's going to happen when I run out of batteries? How am I going to get them? When is the next time someone is going to drop them off? And that's a weight that has been lifted off of her shoulders and brightened her mood. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Ben.
All right, great. Thanks, RJ. So just a little side note here. I think I saw on the participant list that Ashley, who RJ referenced above, is actually on the call. So thanks for joining, Ashley. Hello. Ashley also writes a great blog about living with hearing loss. So we can plug that in the end, and you all should check that out. So thanks for joining. So anyways, back to our scheduled presentation. One of the most important factors for us at hearOclub is to make things as simple and easy as possible for our members. So this simplicity extends across the board from sign up to delivery and beyond. So what you can see here is a screenshot of the ordering page on our website. Signing up is by design very, very easy. So there's really just two steps. First, you select your battery size, which is color-coded for ease of use. And then you select how many batteries you typically go through in a month. And we don't want people to get too hung up on getting it exactly right. It's just a rough estimate, and you can change your plan at any time, which I'll talk about in a bit. And then once you do those two things, our hearOclub algorithm does the rest. It recommends that the plan that is right for you, and highlights the plan that we think that would serve you best. So this page that you're looking at right now actually highlights our hearing aid batteries, but we also have a separate page that's dedicated purely to Cochlear implant batteries. So we have both. Signing up is exactly the same for Cochlear implant batteries. It's just a little higher volume so as people run through those a bit quicker, and we want to make sure that we meet their needs. So for those members who would rather not sign up online, we also have a fully staffed US-based customer service team. And this team is ready to take orders, answer questions, and really just walk you through the entire process. Our customer service team is there for you. Any question you have, just give them a call. Even if it's not related to hearOclub, maybe just give them a call. They're really nice.
Please, love to hear from you.
That's right. So our plans, the takeaway here really is that our plans are designed to be customizable and really easy for every member. So can we go to the next slide here? Okay, so once you've signed up, what happens next? After you sign up, shipments are delivered directly to your door every other month. You never pay for shipping, you never pay sales tax, and you're never going to receive, and you will receive a reminder before every shipment. So you know when they're coming, and you know that they'll always be there. If you ever find that you have too many batteries or you're not getting enough batteries, updating your plan is super easy, and you can do it either through our online portal or over the phone with that super friendly US-based customer support team that we referenced earlier. Our goal is just to make everything as easy as possible, and we want to make sure that the solution is right for you. Next page. So in addition to easy, reliable battery delivery, our members also receive a free battery testing keychain with their very first shipment. And RJ touched on this a little bit, but here's a picture of what that looks like. So this battery tester, this keychain has a battery tester, so you can see exactly how much charge is left. Plus, it also has a storage drawer for any extra batteries, so that you never run out on the go. So this is something that we get a lot of feedback on. Our customers love this keychain. Not only does it help make sure you always have batteries on you, but can help determine when you might be running low, so you can plan for the day ahead. You're heading out for the day. Do you have enough charge on your battery? You can check it right here. Either swap it out for a new one, or put one in the drawer, take it with you. It's easy. So I don't know if this picture does a good job of showing scale, but the keychain fits right in the palm of your hand. It's very easy. Put it in your purse, on your keys, your backpack, whatever is most convenient to you. We know that you guys are already bringing batteries with you, whether you keep a pack in your purse or loose batteries in your glove compartment. This is a way to keep it organized and keep it easy. So on the left here, you'll see a picture that we were sent recently, which I believe is from a camping trip in Moab. So really, our members bring their keychains everywhere, which is awesome. And we really love when members send us photos like these. So if you're a member and you have a keychain and you have a cool photo of it somewhere, send it our way. We'll feature it on Instagram, Facebook, social media, all that stuff. We really love seeing that. It's just really building the community, so it's great. Next picture. Okay, cool. So talking about community, let's talk about community involvement. So you guys know that we strive to provide the best service for our members, but we're also very passionate about the community at large. So when we were setting up our distribution centers, one of the coolest things we were able to do was to find a supplier that was actually located right down the street from the Wisconsin Educational Services Program for the deaf and hard of hearing. So we thought, wow, what a coincidence. That's cool. Maybe we can partner up with them, right? So we're actually in talks with them right now to provide part-time job opportunities to those students, giving them live experience in the workplace. So this is something that's very real. It's in the works. We're hoping to have it finalized by this coming fall. And we're just thrilled to think that hearing impaired individuals from this great school are going to actually be filling your orders. So we think that's really awesome. On I guess a bit of a broader scale on the overall environment, the world, the natural environment is something that we're also very passionate about. So hearing aids and hearing aid batteries are a wonderful invention, but like any disposable item, like any disposable battery, they also produce waste, right? So we want to eliminate this as much as possible. And we're doing that by providing on-demand recycling services for any of our members. So sticking with the easy, simple theme, we like to keep it really easy. All a member has to do is just request that they want to opt into our recycling program, and we'll provide a return envelope in their shipment. All they have to do is just pop in their used batteries, send them to us, and we recycle them. Nothing else that you guys have to do. So very, very easy, and a way to kind of look after the earth a bit. Next slide. So the community alliance that we are proudest of, however, is you guys. The HLAA, and I really do mean that. So we've been working with the HLAA since mid 2018, and we couldn't be happier to be part of the community. So Nancy and everybody in her organization have been really great for us, and just educating us, partnering with us on many different things. We're really happy to be working with you guys. So as I'm sure you've heard, whether it's in the various announcements or articles in Hearing Life magazine, what we're doing for you guys as a thank you is offering an additional $30 worth of free batteries plus the $10 plus the keychain, which is $10 value. So that's a total $40 value. This is something that we've never done before, frankly, for any other group. And the reason that we're doing it is that we really believe in HLAA, its mission, and the community around it. So what we're thinking here is we want you to think of these bonus batteries as a thank you. And we hope that you can stash them, at work, in the car, use your keychain on the go, just as another, peace of mind that you've got some extra batteries. Next slide, please. So with that, I'd like to kind of close out here, open up for questions, and really invite you to join us in Rochester. So as you know, the HLAA convention is from June 20th to 23rd in Rochester, New York. We're really excited to attend this year, and we're actually going to have a booth on the convention floor, and we'll also be holding a workshop on Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. So please, it's great to talk to you guys on something like this, but it'd be even better to meet you in person. So please stop by. We love to meet you. Love to answer any questions, show you, the keychains in person, whatever you guys want. We just are excited to meet you. So come visit us at the show. Mm-hmm. So with that, any questions that you guys have?
I love the way you branded that picture before of Rochester with the boat and the sun with your HearOclub. I love that.
We're going to be all over Rochester.
Well, we're thinking, that it's going to be summer. We're optimistic here. So.
Yeah. Very good. There was one question about the type of battery, which we know is die-hard, but the question was whether or not they're mercury-free.
Yes, they're mercury-free. They are.
Okay, perfect. There's that myth about storing your batteries in the refrigerator to make them last longer. Does that work?
No, unfortunately, it does not. It's better to just keep them in a dry place that is at room temperature. You don't want to have them too cold or too hot, but you'd like to keep them where there's not a lot of humidity, and that'll help keep them lengthen the amount of time that they'll work.
Okay. How did that ever start?
Because actually carbon zinc batteries, which are the old style AA's and AAA's, people would put those in the refrigerator, even the freezer, to try to get additional life. And that happened many years ago, before alkaline batteries even existed. And so it's a little crazy, but yeah, the myth continues, Nancy.
Well, you cited a lot of sources there about the consequences of untreated hearing loss. And of course, that information is very important to us as we try to get people to get their hearing checked and so forth. So that definitely validates the work that you're doing. And but I wonder about the senior centers. How is it possible that somebody went 2 weeks without, if they're in a facility that even has a nurse or somebody, how is that possible that somebody did not have batteries in their hearing aids and went for 2 weeks without hearing?
Yeah, I did that particular focus group where that woman went 2 weeks, and I had about 8 people in the focus group, Nancy, and the best situation was a fella, then I said, how do you get your hearing aid batteries? And he said, well, when I run out, I call my cousin, and my cousin will go to the store and bring them to me, sometimes the same day, sometimes the next day. So that was the best situation of the 8. The worst situation was, unfortunately, this woman, and she said, when I run out of hearing aid batteries, I call my audiologist for an appointment. And typically they can get me in 1 to 2 weeks. And I said, so you literally can't hear for 1 to 2 weeks? And she looked at me kind of matter of fact and said, yeah, that's what happens. And the thing that was the most shocking to me, I mean, I know with elder care and whatnot that there are situations where, you know, people aren't visited for a certain period of time, or they're not mobile and they can't drive themselves. But what amazed me was that just systemically, since we formed HearOclub, we've talked to probably over 100 directors of elder communities, and nobody has this taken care of, Nancy. Nobody does. And so, you know, a lot of people are just thrilled because we obviously provide a structure as well as a high quality product. And it actually makes the care providers happy because they can actually do their jobs better, because they don't have to worry about trying to give care to somebody that can't hear them.
Correct. Wow. Vicki from Colorado, she's one of my webinar groupies. She's just about at every webinar I do, and I love her for that. But Vicki pointed out that I think it was Ben that said, just, you know, throw your batteries in your car, wherever. And then Bob pointed out that you shouldn't keep them in a hot place. So yeah. I guess we should be careful about storing them in extreme cold or hot in your car.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just responded on the chat. So good call out, Vicki. More referring to the fact that, you know how it is, like, you don't want to run out, so you stash them wherever you think you might run out. So people typically do put them in their glove compartment or at the office or other places, but you're absolutely right. That's not best practice. So we probably we should be more careful when we make that when we say that message. But that's even more reason to have this keychain, right? So that you're carrying it with you, and you always have fresh batteries with you. So you don't necessarily need to take an entire pack out of that dry area where it's, you know, where it's keeping the freshest. You just take the ones that you're going to be using next.
Mm-hmm.
But and I do want to add to that the keychain actually holds 2 batteries. The picture makes it look like that you can only put one in there, but there's a drawer on either side of that. So you can carry 2 brand new batteries, brand new, fresh, diehard batteries with you at all times.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Would you mind going back to the slide where it shows the member benefit page on the hearingloss.org? So I have to say that it's been such a pleasure to work with you 3 on this project. You have shown genuine concern about people with hearing loss and avoiding hearing emergencies, and this plan to help us increase our membership base, I think is great. And I do have another idea that I'm going to run past you when I see you at convention,
Right.
how we even increase more. But I just want to thank you for doing this for our members. As you know, in the same issue of Hearing Life, we announced a rate increase. The first time since 2008, we've increased our membership dues from $35 to $45 for an individual, which I don't think, you know, just the concept of increasing dues sounds scary, but at the same time, if you look at the cost of paper and postage and so forth, since 2008, it was time. So this really kind of helps take the sting, I think, out of a membership increase, because you are getting $30 worth of batteries, which is incredible. It's an incredible offer. Plus the key fob, which is so handy and so useful. So I love this member benefit, and I think it was time for us to kind of look at our member benefits anyway, to see if people are using those things anymore. But I think this is exciting, an exciting addition to our lineup of benefits. So thank you for doing this.
Well, it's an honor for us, Nancy, and we are humbled by the opportunity to be involved and to help people. Great.
So what's your plan for your booth at Rochester? What are people likely to see there, and what will your workshop be about?
Well, our booth, because we don't have like a whole bunch of big things to show, we're going to have a backdrop that is going to actually have customer testimonials, as well as just some large words that are printed in our core values as it relates to, the way we take care of customers. And we'd like to be able to have, because we actually will have a 45-second commercial that will be available actually next week. And so we're going to have that on a continuous loop, so people can see that if we're busy talking to somebody. But we're just excited to get in front of people and be able to tell them what we stand for and how we can help them.
Well, I think it's great. I think you're going to really have a good time in Rochester. HLAA members are just some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and as you can see, they're on it. They're sharp. They know their devices, and I'm sure you'll really enjoy meeting them. I was wondering if we should put kind of a message out on social media for people to bring their batteries. If they've got old batteries between now and the convention, just bring them. Maybe we could have some.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, maybe we could have some of those battery collection boxes at different places within the convention, like at registration and the HLAA booth and wherever else you think would be appropriate.
We'd be happy to do that and put those out, bring them with us. You just tell us how many locations you'd allow us to do it in, and we'll bring that many. So as you've seen it's obviously a nice compact little thing that kind of gets the word out too about everything. So I wanted to share one story that actually happened just a couple days ago, as long as you don't mind. We've got a couple minutes.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
We pride ourselves on kind of going beyond what normal customer service would be. And we had a person call that was trying to figure out what kind of, what battery model was in a hearing aid of a person that didn't speak English. And our customer service person got the model number of the hearing aid and the brand of the hearing aid and did the research and got back to this person to make sure that they had the right battery and enrolled them in hearOclub. So we pride ourselves on it, and I don't mean to keep saying this, but I think we can't wait to have the opportunity to show everybody how much we want to help.
That's great. It's a good story. I had one other question for you, but I see that Ashley, our student with the hearing emergency during final review, has been posting in the chat. Do you want to talk about that, Ben?
Yeah, sure. So we just wanted to plug Ashley's blog. So it's canyouhearmenow.home.blog. And you should all get out. I think Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong, via chat, but I think she just got featured by Phonak, and I think the blog's blowing up a bit. So it's a good read, and everybody should check it out.
That sounds like a good idea. I'm going to check that out. And Ashley, we are always looking for people to do webinars. You can write for our magazine. There's a whole host of different ways that you could interact with people if you'd like. I know that you're in Wisconsin, where we have a lot of chapters, and actually one in your city. So check them out. There's a lot of really nice people in Wisconsin, and they are also starting to use Zoom for meetings. So if you're not able to make it, or you just want to sit at home and watch the presenter, they're starting to kind of figure out the technology to make that happen in Wisconsin. So all good things to come. So let's see, we have another question. Okay, Vicki again. She says, I think I missed something if you covered it. Do you take the tab off the batteries for a few minutes before closing the battery door? I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
Yeah, so Bob, do you want to answer this?
Yeah, it obviously has a tab on it, and it needs to be taken off. And yeah, the battery should sit for just a little bit before you actually put it in your hearing aid.
And why is that?
There's little teeny tiny holes that actually circulate air that help activate it. And that's why you wouldn't store the battery with the tab off, because you want it actually in your device when you've taken the tab off.
Okay.
Bob, do you also want to talk a little bit about, I don't know, you've told the story about if you leave a battery in and it's kind of half dead and then you take it out?
Yeah, no, there's a thing called battery memory, and it's a little known fact, but every chemistry in a battery, doesn't matter whether it's silver oxide or alkaline or whatever, when the battery stops functioning in your hearing aid and it doesn't work anymore, and you take it out and set it aside, it actually reclaims a little bit of energy. If you leave it for a couple days, it will reclaim enough energy to potentially run your hearing aid for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So you could be actually kind of faked out. I mean, I'm not sure that's the right term, but you could put it in and think, okay, I'm fine, and then head out the door, and 10 minutes later it doesn't work. And so all batteries reclaim a little bit of energy by sitting and not being used after it fails in the device that it's being used. It doesn't matter whether it's a clock radio or a flashlight or whatever, it reclaims some energy.
Okay. I guess this might be kind of a silly question, but I don't wear hearing aids, so I don't know. But how does one know which battery to order? The industry has done everyone a huge favor in that they've color coded. It doesn't matter which brand that you buy. They all have color coded the tabs so that you know if you use the orange battery or the yellow battery or the blue battery, that's the right one for you. And so you can go by the number if you want that is actually on the package. But they've actually made it so much simpler in the industry to actually color code. So, and that would be the same color, Nancy, that you would get from your audiologist when you get your hearing aid. Okay. All right.
Those colors are all on our website as well when you're going through the sign up process. So we've matched everything up. So whether you know it by color or you know it by number, both are right there.
Okay. All right. I guess that was one of those burning questions I was afraid to ask you before.
No, that's actually a really good question. That's a really good question.
And then what about the Cochlear implant batteries? I know that you didn't initially have those when we first started our relationship here. How did that come about? And is there anything special about those batteries people need to know? They're higher capacity. They have the same number, but we have a P at the end of it, for the Cochlear battery. We initially shipped to some new members. It's a 675 is the number, and it's blue. And we shipped our 675 diehards because that's what we thought they wanted.
and found out that that was not the right product. And so we obviously have the correct Cochlear battery now. The nice part is that it appears that there's just one battery to be able to service a Cochlear person. So their needs are taken care of, and we've provided them now to new members, and they have the same wonderful things to say about that battery as they do the rest of the other 4 that we are providing.
Okay.
Yeah, the feedback on our new Cochlear battery has just been overwhelmingly positive. People said it outlasts their current batteries. So I don't know what batteries they're using in the past, but they love ours. So we love that.
Well, that's great, because I've heard that some implant companies were providing batteries, but then no longer doing that.
Yeah.
So
and it's really important to make sure that you have the right one, because 675 batteries fit, but as Bob said, they're lower capacity. So 675P is the one you want. So both will fit and work, but it just won't, it just won't last. So it is a different battery. Okay.
The 3 of you know more about batteries than anybody I know. But you also seem to know your customers quite well. And how did that come about? You really seem to have taken the time to get to know them.
I would say that it's really a culture for our company, because we want to learn as much as we possibly can to do the best job that we possibly can. And so we go out of our way to make sure that we almost, I don't want to say personally meet, but we are, very engaged with our customers, because we really need to learn. And, the minute we stop learning, we'll kind of peak out at how well we're taking care of our customers. And so does that help answer your question?
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, and also, it all kind of started with us learning with like a focus group. We were kind of intrigued, and we were like, oh, wow, people that we had talked to there, they need help, and we want to help them. So the whole process, as we've evolved, we just have a lot of contact with our members, and just like to check in and see if there's anything that we could be doing differently. We're always open for suggestions. How we became, aware that we needed to have this 675P battery. We checked in with someone that was just using a 675, and they were saying, well, it's actually not lasting as long as the 675P. And so we were able to say, oh, well, we can take care of you. We'll get a 675P battery. So we just feel like the more contact we have with our members, the more we're able to learn, and the more we're able to solve, a number of problems for people and make sure that they're having the best experience possible.
That's great. Very good.
Yeah, I think the whole premise of the hearing emergency, Nancy, came from our customers, because we don't wear hearing aids. The 3 of us don't. I will be at some point in the near future, but we looked at it and thought we were getting in the battery business when we started HearOclub, and really we're getting in the people business. We're taking care of people, and the best way to do that is, and this is not a pun, but is to listen to them. And it's helping us do the best that we can and grow our business. And we feel like we're giving back too. We feel that these people that are sitting in silence with a hearing emergency, that we're giving them a part of their life back, when we know that they have a consistent supply of batteries no matter where they are.
That's great. Well, you guys have a really good story, and of course I wish you much success, and consequently more HLAA members in the process. I don't see any other questions, so I think we can call it a night, and I know everybody is looking forward to meeting you in person in Rochester. Oh wait, here's Vicki again. Bob, that tip about re-energizing a dying battery has saved me numerous times when I've forgotten to carry extra batteries. Well, right, but I think the point there was, don't go too far away from your fresh batteries, right? Or make sure you have some fresh batteries with you, Vicki.
Well, Yeah, unfortunately, batteries don't have a battery power indicator. You know, you can't look at the battery and obviously know how much charge there is. That's why the keychain fob is so important, so that, you know, you can actually look at it and say, oh my gosh, you know, this only has 10% of its charge left. You know, I need to make sure that I bring some fresh batteries with me.
I've seen people try to test how much battery power there is left by putting it on their tongue. Have you
Really?
ever done that? Yeah.
On their tongue?
I'm not sure that I would endorse that procedure, Nancy.
Bob, is this a battery story that stumps you? Have you not? I thought you've heard them all.
I'm not sure I'd want to put a silver oxide battery on my tongue.
Me neither.
That's funny.
So Vicki commented also that she's been saving dead batteries for years, so she's glad Ben mentioned sending them to.
Yeah, send them over.
Rochester with you, Vicki.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe we should have some sort of like contest around filling up a box or something. So.
Right.
We'll definitely have some boxes in Rochester, so that I think that's a really neat idea, Nancy.
Yeah, I think so too. And I know that, you know, if we put it out on social media a few times before then, hopefully people will remember just to kind of start saving them between now and then and bring them with them.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
All right. This was such a pleasure. I know we've spoken numerous times on the phone, but not so much kind of face to face. So this has been a pleasure talking with you tonight. And thank you so much again for all you're doing for HLAA and for people with hearing loss.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah,
It's our pleasure. It's our honor. Thank you.
Thank you again, Whitney, for providing captions tonight. Really appreciate it. I wish you were coming to Rochester too. But we will not have a webinar in June, and we'll resume when we return in July. So thank you again, and I'll see you in Rochester.
See you there.
Next month.
Bye. We're in Rochester.
All righty. Thanks again.
Have a good night.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.